Hey everyone, it's Offstart. Today I wanted to give you guys an update on how I'm doing with my flip phone. So I have some pretty good news. I'm officially no longer using my smartphone at all. So before, when I first started using my flip phone, I still had to use my smartphone for a couple of things. It wasn't like everyday use sort of stuff, but once in a while I would have to open my smartphone for certain apps and stuff. But now I pretty much deleted everything, and I only have just a couple of essential things that are purely utilitarian, and I don't even use it. They're just kind of there. So that means my phone has been sitting in a drawer, and I haven't been using it, which is really, really nice. Because I've already felt that for the longest time that I just wanted to make the full switch and just stop having to rely on it. And it feels really great to know that I've actually managed to get to that point. It really makes me feel hopeful that, being reliant on a smartphone is not necessary for everyone, and there is a way to escape that. I wanted to tell you guys today how I've managed to replace all of the functionalities that my smartphone has given me with just other things. So this is going to be kind of just showing you all the other stuff that I use now, instead of all the apps and features that I had on my smartphone, which was an iPhone. And yeah, honestly, I think that if you are making the switch yourself to a dumb phone or a flip phone and you still have a smartphone, I think it's okay to have one still. I don't feel like it's necessary to just, sell it or throw it away or something. I feel like it's okay to have a smartphone as a secondary device, as long as it isn't an everyday thing for you, as long as it's not something you need to have with you all the time. It's all about balance and restraint, personal. You kind of have to build up that sort of restraint within yourself, which I definitely had to do myself. So yeah, it's a bit of a process. I've had my flip phone for already 2 months, I'm pretty sure. So, in the grand scheme of things, not a super long time. I'm sure that there will still be challenges that I face in the future, but that's just kind of part of this sort of change. But yeah, I just wanted to share you guys an update and also try to help, give you guys some ideas on how you can make the switch more easier. So let's start. For communications, if you guys didn't watch my previous video where I reviewed my flip phone in its entirety, this is the kyocera 902KC, and of course, a phone of any sort should have phone functionalities like calling and texting, which I of course do. I have it on my display here on the home screen. So QKSMS is what I use to text. And of course, phone calls work just fine through the default phone app. QKSMS is an external app that I had to download through APKs. If you don't know how to download apps through APKs onto a flip phone, I'm going to link you guys the guide that helped me out. I think it deserves more views because it was literally my lifesaver. So yeah, that'll be linked in the description. A lot of the features that I have on my flip phone do rely on, having to kind of modify it with those sort of external, APKs and just plugging it into your computer to download data onto your flip phone. So just keep that in mind. Next is music, which is for a lot of us a very big concern with switching to flip phones. So this will obviously depend on what type of flip phone you have or what type of dumb phone you have. Luckily for me, I was able to get this app on my flip phone called Musicalette. I'm just gonna put up pictures because I'm not gonna wait for it to focus. But yeah, Musicalette is a really, really nice music playing app. It's lightweight, it runs super, super fast. I have had no issues with delays or lag. I managed to basically import some of the songs that I had on my computer as, MP3 files and put them onto my phone. So it's really easy. All you have to do is plug your phone into your computer, put in those MP3 files into a specific folder, and then have Musicalette recognize that folder for music, and it'll just automatically import it. You can customize playlists. There's an equalizer and everything, so it's really great. It's kind of like Spotify, except there's no streaming. You just curate the music yourself, which I really like, honestly, because it's made me more conscious of the music that I'm listening to. It makes me enjoy it more, especially since I have a limited selection. If I want new music, I have to go through the process of actually putting that music onto my phone, which makes it just a lot more special, and I tend to enjoy the music that I have a lot more. So I've been really enjoying just listening through music on my flip phone because it is a bit of a more limited experience. It's less convenient and a little tedious, of course, but I still really enjoy it. It's a nice experience for me to not be kind of bombarded by giant Spotify playlists that I have and then skipping through a bunch of songs and just appreciating what I have, you know? My phone works with Bluetooth, so I can connect Bluetooth headphones. I just use my AirPods. And when I'm on the go, that pretty much solves my music listening experience. So yeah, I just take my AirPods and my phone, and that's all I need. I am trying to get some better headphone options right now. I want to get like some nice Bluetooth headphones. So I ordered some. They're coming soon in the mail. I'm not sure how good they're gonna be, so I might have to just get some really expensive like Sony headphones or something because my standards are kind of high, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just really picky with the type of headphones that I'm looking for, so hopefully these will work, the ones that I ordered. If not, I'm just gonna have to get some Sony ones. But yeah, I know that some flip phones still have like headphone jacks where you can actually use 3.5mm headphones, which I wish I had because yeah, it would be nice to also have wired as an option. On my particular phone, there is a workaround where you can use like a special adapter to plug in wired earphones, but other than that, it's pretty much exclusively for Bluetooth headphones, which I guess is fine. You know, Bluetooth headphones, wireless headphones are pretty neat, but it's still nice to have that option. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that as long as your phone has some sort of way to play music, if you can get the musical APK installed, then that will be perfect, but maybe there's just like a simple inbuilt audio player on your flip phone. If not, if it's really like impossible on your certain phone to play music, then I guess it's time to get some sort of iPod, which I was considering to get an iPod, but honestly, I'm not going to because I already have a functional music player on my flip phone, and as much as I would love to have an iPod just for the coolness of it, I still think it's important to keep in mind just to work with what you already have. So I've already had to, you know, get so many different things to kind of decentralize my whole system that I don't want to add another device if I can avoid it. So yeah, with my phone, the music player, Musicalette works just fine. Anyways, next let's talk entertainment. So my biggest issue with dropping my smartphone entirely was my pretty heavy reliance on YouTube. I would use YouTube on my smartphone a lot. Particularly when I was going to bed, I would always listen to videos on YouTube, and kind of just staring at the screen while I was laying down would help me kind of get tired, and that would be my fastest way of falling asleep. Before I started doing this little routine of just watching YouTube and particular types of videos that are very like, you know, easy to listen to, it would take me hours to fall asleep. Looking at YouTube has been my only saving grace. But the thing is, I don't want to rely on having to stare at a screen to fall asleep. You can obviously see the problem with that. And I try, you know, just listening without having to like watch it, but then I wouldn't really get tired. What I'm trying to say is that for me, breaking this habit has been a pretty big challenge. And not only that, but I also use YouTube as kind of like my way to wake up in the morning, because before I didn't have, you know, I don't have social medias, even on my smartphone. So YouTube was like my only scrolling app. And I would just scroll through YouTube sometimes when I didn't want to wake up, and it would actually help me wake up a little bit, you know? And I didn't like that. I didn't like that I would fall into that habit because it's a waste of time, ultimately. And it also, like, you kind of let the algorithm choose what you watch. I remember sometimes I would stumble across some really nice videos and I would wake up and be in a pretty good mood. And other times I would watch some stupid political BS and just be in a crappy mood in the morning. And it's just not nice to have the algorithms literally decide how your day starts. I didn't like that, so I had to fix that problem immediately. Another thing is I use YouTube as, like, you know, just entertainment while I'm like cooking and waiting for my food to cook. I would watch it in the kitchen. I would watch YouTube on my phone when I'm eating sometimes. When I need just a little mental break, I'm gonna like lie down in my bed for a little bit and watch some YouTube. Like it was my only source of like mindless entertainment because I didn't have any other social medias. So I really relied on it. And I noticed that now, when back then I would be like, oh yeah, like I don't use social medias, I'm good. But no, YouTube was that vice for me. My screen time on my iPhone has been practically nothing except for YouTube. And albeit a lot of it was me literally just asleep while YouTube would play all night in the background, which obviously brought my hours way up. But still, even when I am awake and actively watching YouTube, it's still a lot of time. I had to find a workaround. For me, that was like my main entertainment, right? So what I did was I got YouTube to work on my flip phone, but it's through an app called NewPipe. And what I like about NewPipe is that first of all it works. I've had to install already like 3 different types of YouTube like forks that weren't working. So NewPipe works, but not great, right? The thing is, YouTube is so easy to just scroll and scroll and scroll and never be satisfied with what you're watching because you're just like, oh, but I don't want to watch this. I want to watch something better. Like, let's see what the algorithm will show me. NewPipe doesn't even have, like, for me, I made my app where I don't open the app and it'll show me a home feed of just recommended videos. For me, it'll show me my subscriptions, which I'm only subscribed to two channels. I'm not going to go out of my way to subscribe to a bunch of channels. I only subscribe to the channel that I specifically use to fall asleep, and I also subscribe to a channel that I use to listen to like language podcasts. So that's like, productivity, and then also just like my nightly listening, right? There's no feed. I just have to pick what I want to watch, which is I think how it should be. If I want to watch a specific video, I'll have to search for it, which, as you know, on a T9, you really gotta be intentional about it. So it's a very nice middle ground where YouTube doesn't control me. I actually have the control for the most part, right? When you click on a video, it takes a while to load. When it finally does load, the quality is bad. You're watching it on a tiny screen. It's just not that great of a experience. It works, but it's not great, which discourages me even further to watch it for too long. So I really like it. I'm not like going on YouTube all the time just to scroll through it, to watch random crap. I'm only using it for particular moments where I need it, right? So sometimes I'll just listen to some language podcasts, or sometimes I'll put on some like rain ambience to help me relax. And then when I want to go to bed, I'll put on my, my nightly listening. But what I'll do is I'll actually close my phone, and I'm practicing to fall asleep without looking at the screen, which is hard, but I'm getting there, right? YouTube is it was a pretty big issue for me, so that's why I'm kind of going into depth about this, because maybe some of you are struggling with a similar thing. I know that YouTube addiction is kind of like one thing that a lot of people fall into when they stop going on social medias, and it definitely happened to me. So yeah, like a really crappy version of YouTube on a tiny little screen like this has been kind of my saving grace, because other than that, like, I don't really use it as like obsessively as I used to before. And I can just watch it on my computer, or I'll play some videos on my laptop sometimes, but it's a very like conscious experience now. Whereas on my phone, it was just too easy to fall into a rabbit hole of just scrolling forever trying to find a video, and then you finally do, and then it's just too much. Besides that, I've also been trying to help my sleeping by reading a book before bed. And that'll actually help me kind of like fall asleep physically. Like my eyes will get tired, I'll relax, and then I can put on my stupid little videos and listen to that without having to watch the screen, which actually does really help. So currently I'm reading Neuromancer. Hell yeah. Check out how green this book is. I love it. So yeah, I've been reading some books every night before bed, and that helps me calm down. Also, reading is just great entertainment otherwise. I also noticed that like if I really kind of feel bored and I want to just take a break from, sitting at my computer, because I have to do that a lot for like work and stuff, I will just like go on walks or just do some other random activity. Like today I just sat down for a little bit, listened to music, and I was putting stickers on my camera. So it was kind of like a fun little random activity. I was like journaling in bed a few days ago. I'm just doing more random things that don't revolve around a phone or staring at a screen, which is really nice. So you kind of just find ways to fill the gaps in your day with fun little activities. And I really enjoy that. So I am pretty entertained still. I'm not like super bored, but I feel like I have a bit more variety in my day. I've actually also been playing a lot more video games in my free time. I've been making the time for myself to just kind of have fun and enjoy some games, which has been really nice. Yeah, so I'm not scrolling on my phone anymore, guys. Like, I'm just doing stuff and I'm still having a lot of fun at it, and it's honestly a lot more high quality entertainment. So having a shittier version of whatever sort of entertainment app that you like for me it's YouTube, I think it's a great workaround, you know? And eventually maybe for some of you you'd want to just completely get rid of it altogether. I don't know if I'd ever like truly stop watching YouTube, because that is literally like the only source of entertainment that I have in terms of like video, because I don't have any streaming services. So I think it's okay for me. Anyways, that was a really long segment. Let's continue. So I wanted to talk about some other kind of like essential functionalities, some smaller ones like weather, because I would always check weather on my phone, and now I actually switched to just checking it on my browser. When I open a new tab on Firefox, it'll show me the current temperature, which is really nice. And I just click on the little widget and it'll take me to a weather website, and then I can just look through the forecast. So that solves my issue. You know, it really isn't that big of a deal to just check it on the browser. Of course, you can't do it when you're out and about, but for me, that's not really a big issue. I don't ever check the weather when I'm out and about because I typically already know, because I check when I'm at home. So, calculator. So there is a calculator on my flip phone, but the thing is, it's just a little tedious to use. So I actually have this type of calculator that I bought for school. And I'm not in school anymore, but I still have it because I really like it. So yeah, whenever I need to do some calculations, you know, 5 plus 5, boom, 10. So yeah, I do prefer having a physical calculator. Even when I had my smartphone, I would sometimes still use this. But yeah, there is a calculator on my flip phone. I'm sure there's probably one on your dumb phone too, hopefully. Also for flashlight, I also, you know, I have a flashlight on here. So yeah, for alarms, so I know that some people use alarm clocks because maybe their phone's alarm is not super good, but my alarm on my phone works, and I have it for my wake up alarm, for my my nightly like allergy medicine alarm. So yeah, alarm works on my phone. Another thing for me is cooking. So this was actually something that I had to use YouTube for, because I would find a lot of recipes on YouTube and then follow the recipe slash tutorial on my phone while I'm cooking, and I already have like a lot of recipes like memorized, like how to make them. It's just I need to follow the ingredients. So for those types of recipes, I'm using a cookbook. I have this really old notebook that I found in my closet, and I'm using it for my recipes that I already like am confident in making, right? Because sometimes you do need to watch like a video to see like how to make something, but for the things that are more straightforward, I have a book for it now, which I've really wanted to have for a long time. I wanted to have like a cookbook that I can just kind of write down my recipes and have them there instead of like looking at my tiny little phone screen when I'm trying to cook something, which I'm always like, what does that say? 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon? It's like, sometimes physical is better, honestly. And I think for the rare occasions where I will have to use like maybe a YouTube video or some sort of like article online, well, of course I can just pull up the video on NewPipe, but I could also just bring it up on my laptop and just have it kind of like on the counter somewhere in the kitchen and watch the recipe there. A little bit of a kind of a dumb workaround, but it'll work, right? Anyways, yeah, so that's for cooking. And also another important thing is like note-taking, because I'm sure that a lot of us jot down quick notes on like the Notes app or something. So for me, I have a pocket notebook now, and I really like it. I've honestly been using it a lot, and I feel like I'm more encouraged to take notes on little things because I actually find it to be a lot more like convenient a lot of the time to just, quickly open the notebook, write something down, and it's always there. Whereas on my smartphone, I didn't really take notes that often because it was too much of a process. You would have to unlock your phone, open the app, make a new note, and then type it all out, which is for me not the best experience. I never really did it. But on my pocket notebook, I find it to be a lot more just intuitive. So I've been taking a lot more notes, and I feel like it's a good thing because you're writing down these thoughts that come to you now that your mind is a little bit more clear, thanks to the phone, honestly, the dumb phone. And I've gotten a lot of great ideas from my pocket notebook. So I'm really happy about that. So yeah, I'd recommend just getting a really small notebook that you can carry around in your pocket. This is super tiny. I think it's like a 2 by 3 inch notebook. And yeah, I just take it with me everywhere. Another thing is journaling. So I have my notes for this video in my journal. I would recommend you guys to start a journal if you don't have one. It's really nice to just write things down, especially now that you may have a little bit more just on your mind, now that you're not filling up all your time with scrolling. It's good to just write things down. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I think a journal is also really helpful to have. Another thing is that a lot of the apps that I used to use on my smartphone, I've actually realized that I can just use them on the desktop, as in through websites. So for example, I use Discord on the web browser pretty much exclusively. I use Instagram exclusively on the web browser because I don't use Instagram for personal reasons. I use it only to kind of promote my YouTube and my art and stuff, so it is a business thing for me. So I don't follow anyone, I don't look at feeds, it's just me posting and then I leave. So web browser is kind of perfect for that, because then it's purely a business thing for me. There's no other distractions. Another thing is Pinterest. I used to use Pinterest a lot on my phone, and now I just use it on the web browser. And Duolingo, I used to use it on the app, now I use it on the web browser. I also have a particular audio lesson guide that I used to use as an app, and now I use it on the web browser. What do you know? They actually have a website. I didn't even know that, and I was so happy because everything is just easier for me to use on my computer because I'm so used to using the computer anyways. So yeah, a lot of things just work on the web browser, or just maybe a software that you can install on your computer. It's so much it's just nicer because now when I'm practicing Swedish, I don't have to grab my iPhone just to listen to the audio lessons. I can just do it on my computer when I'm already sitting at my computer desk. I can do my Duolingo lessons on my computer when I'm already starting my day, and it's so much more streamlined for me too. It encourages me to do things in a much more healthy way, which I like. So yeah, a lot of the apps that you may use on your phone could work on the web browser or on your computer. Sometimes it may be a little less convenient. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss the weather app because iPhone has a really nice weather app, but it's okay, I manage. Another thing I wanted to mention was, where is it? Taking time. So when you have a dumb phone, it might not be as easy to, get the time really quickly, especially if you don't really carry your phone around all the time. I know that sometimes I forget my phone on my desk when I'm out somewhere else, and then I'm okay, what time is it? I don't know. I use a watch. I always use a watch, even when I had my smartphone, because I wouldn't have my phone in my school classes, and then I would be so annoyed that I couldn't tell the time. So I just got a watch so that I always knew what the time was. Highly recommend. Everyone has a watch. It's just a really nice thing to have. So yeah, for those rare occasions where it's not super easy to tell the time, or if you don't have your phone with you, I would just consider getting a watch. Okay, this one might be a little bit niche, but this is kind of important to me because it's a safety thing. So before, when I had my smartphone, I would have a family member always track my location through Find My iPhone or something. The thing where you can literally just look at where other Apple devices are in your network with the iPhone features. I totally forgot what it's called. But yeah, it's a built-in iPhone thing where you can just find where other phones are. And that would be my tracking device. And my family member would always keep tabs on where I am when I'm out and about for safety, right? It's like safe of mind sort of thing. And I was concerned about that because now that I don't have my iPhone on me, how am I gonna be tracked, right? Which sounds super weird, but like, it is for safety, so I think it's important. So a workaround for this is Apple AirTags. I might not have an iPhone, but more likely than not, when you're like passing by the streets or passing by cars or just whatever, as long as you're like in a public place, you're most likely going to be around other iPhones or other Apple devices, and those will ping off of the AirTag. And then you will be able to be tracked as long as this is on you. This has worked for me. I was, my family member has been able to see where I was at with just the AirTag, and it was accurate and it works. So I just keep this with me, like in my bag or on my keys or just in my pocket, and this helps me feel safe. So for photos, I actually use my flip phone. The quality of the photos on this thing are not the best, but they're charmingly bad and I love it. They're not like abhorrent where it's really like hard to look at. I like it. I think it's a really nice middle ground between like kind of crappy 2000s camera style but not like super ugly, because some cameras are ugly. But not this one. This one's pretty good. So I use it. I actually really feel more encouraged to take photos on it now because I just like the kind of charming look of it. But I also do have a camera for, taking videos and nicer photos when I need it. So I would recommend getting like a little digital camera, a cheap one, if you really want to. If bad photo quality does concern you, I think having a little camera you can take with you is also really nice. So yeah, I use my camera, to record my videos and also to take photos sometimes and do all that sort of stuff. But anyways, the last two things is going to be payments and navigation. So these two things don't really like play a big role in my life right now. I'll be honest, I don't drive a car, so I'm gonna speak on navigation from like an external perspective of what I've seen other people do in the dumb phone community. I've just seen people, instead of using navigation apps, they would just kind of write down the directions to wherever they're going before leaving the house, and just like putting a sticky note on their car and using that as their navigation, or trying to memorize the route, or taking a map, or just, learning over time and kind of just letting yourself get lost and find your way, using road signs or, all these sort of things. Like, there obviously are other alternatives to navigate yourself when you're driving that don't revolve around just looking at an app. And I even noticed that a lot of people say that when they do this, they feel a lot more confident in their driving and navigation because they're able to do it without relying on an app. So it may be tricky. I feel like navigation without an app could be really hard, and I would be nervous about that if I had to deal with that, but I don't, luckily. At least not yet. But yeah, I think there are still workarounds for this issue. And I guess you could always just get a GPS if it really does concern you. So yeah, there are alternatives for navigation as well. And lastly, payments. So this is kind of like concerning like mobile payments. I have only used like Apple Pay a handful of times, Cash App, a handful of times. I mostly use my card anyway, but I know that in certain places, and even in like certain countries, mobile payments are a lot more common than like cash or even card. And that has concerned me, but I think for the most part, as long as you have a card on you, you will be able to get by with just using a card rather than online payments. I think it gets more difficult when systems like public transport, bus tickets, or metro tickets, like those sort of things, when they have a specific app where you have to like use a scanner on your phone to like unlock those sort of things, those sort of services. If there isn't like an alternative for that, I would be super annoyed, but I don't really like, I don't have to deal with any of that because I don't rely on like public transportation or those sort of things right now. But it's like, it's still a possibility that in the future I will have to deal with those sort of things. So it's like in the back of my head, like I really hope there is some sort of alternative, and there probably is, but it may just be super inconvenient, which sucks, but hopefully there is still some sort of workaround. But yeah, like keep that stuff in mind, like if you have those sort of services that require an app and there may not be an alternative to that, then you might have to do a little bit of research and see if you can do anything about that. But again, those two things, like online payments and navigation. Like these two things don't really apply to me right now, so I can't really give like any solid advice. But yeah, just research and see what other people may be doing. I hope that has helped in some way. I really enjoyed talking about all this stuff because I find it so interesting. I really enjoy looking at what other people are doing to kind of decentralize their phone. I like it because it may not be like physically minimal, right? You kind of have to like add more things to your everyday like inventory. I have to use a pocket notebook. I have to, you know, have a wallet on me, an AirTag, pens, and a cookbook, and a watch. All these sort of things are just things that you kind of have to use now instead of just like one little brick. But as I've heard other people say, it may not be physically minimal, but it's very mentally minimal. It reduces the mental strain that using a smartphone can bring. So I really, really like it. And yeah, I definitely feel like now that I made the switch, I just feel like my brain has space to breathe and exist like a normal human brain. I don't feel the urge to scroll all the time. I can literally just sit in a moment and kind of just be there and enjoy myself. And I don't feel the urge to check on my phone all the time. I used to have so many bad habits that I didn't really even notice. Like I would wake up every morning and scroll through YouTube or just check every little app. I would check my emails. I would check social media or messages or like whatever I could. I would just check and check and check. And it would be just a constant thing in the back of your head. I don't know if you guys have ever even felt like your phone vibrated in your pocket, but it didn't. Apparently that's a real phenomenon. And I just learned that the other day, and it's crazy because it has happened to me like a handful of times and it has freaked me out. It gives you that peace of mind to not have to worry about all that. It's crazy, but yeah, smartphones really do that sort of stuff to you, and it's kind of crazy. Honestly, like my smartphone like wasn't that big of an issue for me. Like as I said earlier, I was mostly just having trouble with YouTube. Like I wasn't even using it for that much else. But it were those little habits that I still had. They may not have affected my entire day where my screen time would be like crazy. Like I know that some people do struggle with that, where their screen time every day is like 5 hours plus or something, which for me that wasn't an issue, but I still had bad habits on that phone. And I feel a lot more just relaxed now that I don't have to constantly kind of like mentally babysit a smartphone. This thing just feels like a little thing I just keep in my pocket and I use it when I need to, and then it's like a one and done. You don't have to, I don't know, like opening an app and then opening another app and then opening another app and then you're scrolling and then freaking like 2 hours go by. It's just like, oh, let me just you know, write down, like let me just take a little photo real quick. Boom, done, close. It's just like, dude, game changer. Anyways, I feel like every day I'm becoming more and more of a boomer. But trust me guys, it's worth it. I just feel like it was a good decision for me. It may not be for everyone, but it really is really making a difference for me. And I'm glad because it shows that it can help even if you don't have like a crazy smartphone addiction, because I never really did, but I still had issues. I think everyone has issues with smartphones to a certain degree, and it has helped to just step away. But yeah, I'm really happy that I no longer have to use my smartphone anymore. This is how I've managed so far, and I'm really excited to see how this will go in like, you know, a year or two from now. And hopefully I'll still have my flip phone. I definitely love it, so I think I will, as long as I can, you know. Yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see any other flip phone related topics. I'd love to talk about it more. It's really fun to kind of just talk about, because I feel like there are so many different conversations to be had. And I'm just holding a calculator now. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!